I figured I'd do a quick video on some powder coating. I mentioned that I'm doing some powder coating here at home. I can show you one thing I did. This is the upper triple tree that I did in gloss black. This was, again, I only have a small oven, which is right here, so it was difficult for me to get this in here because I had to do both sides of it, obviously, and for me to lay it down would have, I couldn't do it, so I had to devise a way to kind of hang it and cook it, but it worked out. It came out pretty nice. I also did the lower half right there. These legs I had to have done. These legs on the forks were polished, but I wanted them gloss black, but I couldn't do them myself. They wouldn't fit in my oven, so I had to have those done. Cover for the primary, right here. The other is the inspection cover for the primary, and then that is the timing cover on the cam cover. So those three things are what I'm going to do today, and then I don't think I'll have time today, but in the very near future I have to do the edges of the lower rocker box. Now all these were, I had all these sandblasted. I suppose I could have really sanded these down or at least roughed them up enough to get the powder to stick, but to powder coat the right way, you have to have it down to the bare metal. You really have to get whatever you're trying to powder coat down to the bare metal, or it's not going to work properly. I did powder coat one thing, actually one of those lower rocker box covers. I had powder coated the outside. I sanded it down I must have spent over an hour sanding it with 4 different types of sandpaper. I went from a real heavy grit and I got lighter each time. I powder coated it, and the next day it flaked right off. It didn't even stay on. So I went to the place I go to locally here, and I had it blasted, and I'll do them both over again. But that's how you learn, I guess. By trial and error. And unfortunately, I don't have a sandblaster or a way to sandblast, which is inconvenient. I wish they made a small do-it-yourself sandblast station or kit, because I certainly would buy it. It would make my life a little bit easier. So you really have to have things blasted down to the bare metal. It makes things a lot easier. You also have to clean them off really good. If you use some acetone before you powder coat, it works well. It gets all the oils from your fingers off, and any dirt that might be on there, it gets that off. You have to have the part clean before you powder coat it. The other thing you have to do is you really have to bake the part by itself, just like you see it here, at about 450 degrees for a good 20 minutes to allow the gases inside the metal to escape. Otherwise, you run the risk of getting what's called outgassing. And if you've ever seen a part that's been powder coated and it looks like an orange peel, that's actually outgassing. And that, I'm looking at my camera here, my battery's dying. But that's the finish you don't want. So to prevent that, if you bake the part at 450 for about 20-25 minutes, take it out, let it cool, then powder coat it, then bake it again, you really cut your chances of having that outgassing occur and ending up with a really crappy looking finish. So I'm going to charge this battery, then I'll come back and then I'll powder coat one of these and show you how I do it here. I have a little makeshift powder coat station. It's nothing more than a plastic bin. Bought that at Walmart. I think it cost me $4. I drilled a hole in the top. I have a metal rod here to hang the parts on. Okay, so I charged the camera a bit. I don't know how much battery I'm actually going to have here, but here, let me just show you one thing. I did powder coat one piece right here. This is the inspection cover on the primary. And this is a copper color, as you can see, and this will be one of the colors on the bike. The copper black and white are the three colors, but I'm going to take that off so you can, still a little hot, so I don't know how long I'll be able to hold it in my hand for, but there you go, there's one color done. So again, the process is to, and I'll use these two things that I'm going to powder coat next as an example. The process is to get the parts blasted, get them good and clean, get them down to bare metal, handle them, very little. You don't want to get your hands all over them because the oils from your hand will stick to the metal, and then if you try and powder coat over that, the powder won't stick and it'll just bubble up and flake off. So try and handle it, least amount of times as you possibly have to. In this oven at 450 for about 20 minutes to get the gases out of the metal. And I let it cool a little bit, clean it with acetone again, and now I'm going to powder coat them. These are both going to be white. Although I keep changing my mind on this piece right here on whether or not it should be that copper color or white, but this here is going to be white, so maybe I'll take this off for now, just because I changed my mind like a woman. So I probably shouldn't have said that. So powder coating is very simple, and this compressor may kick on while I'm talking. So if it does, I'll have to shut up for a bit. But here's the powder coat unit. This clip and this cord right here carry the negative charge. The powder coat gun, which is right here, has a positive charge which comes out of the tip here. So when the powder comes out of the gun, it's hit with a positive charge. It lies against the surface, which is being charged with the negative charge, and it sticks to the surface. This particular unit has a little pedal down here, which you click on and off. Hold it down when you want to send the charge to the part you're powder coating. What you never want to do, obviously, is touch this piece here to the part that you're powder coating, or to this clip when it's being charged, when you're stepping on the pedal. Otherwise, you'll get yourself a nice shock and create some fireworks. So while your foot's on this pedal, you need to make sure that that tip is far away from any metal, especially the negative charge right here. So we've baked the part, released the gases, I've cleaned the part. Now I'm going to turn on the unit and try and do this with my left hand. Hang on a minute. Let me see. Let me try and switch hands. This might get a little shaky here. Okay. So you're supposed to do this in a well-ventilated area. Obviously this plastic case is not ventilated. Neither is my garage, which is closed in here. And you're supposed to wear a mask, which I'm not. You're supposed to do a lot of things that I don't do. It's been my problem for many years. But it's not a real big... I'm not powder coating a lot or anything really big, and so it's not really a big deal, other than the fact the powder does blow back at me and land on the floor here, but I can always sweep that up. That's the nice thing about powder. If you make a mistake, if I really fuck this piece up bad, all I have to do is get a brush it off, and start again. As long as I don't bake it. If I bake it, sometimes you can sand a small portion of it off and then hit it again, but you run the risk of cooking it for too long, and then you can actually kind of burn the powder and make a bit of a mess. But it is correctable, even if you do happen to bake this finish and then say, oh shit, what did I do? You can kind of sand it and do it again. So these holes probably should be filled, but they're not threaded, so I'm not too worried about it. Normally you'd want to fill any holes, especially threaded holes, with either special high heat plugs, or I like to use aluminum foil. Roll up a piece of that and stick it in the hole, and that prevents it from clogging up. You don't want to powder coat with the screws in there either. The screws can kind of act as a bridge, and the powder can stick to the screw and the surface you're powder coating, and it can get stuck in there pretty good and follow up the threads. So you definitely want to try and cover threaded holes if you can. I'm not too worried about these holes here though. That's pretty much it. I think we're ready to powder coat. So I'm going to give it a charge. You can see that green light's on. It's charging. Let it charge for a few minutes, or a few seconds anyway. And as long as my pressure is set right on the compressor, that should be good.
Give it a try.
Now, I don't know if you can hear me over that compressor, but I'm not happy with some of this right here, and I'll show you where. This right here. Right in there. Right in there. Right in there. So, again, I don't know if you heard me over that compressor, but there was a couple spots in here I wasn't happy with. Now, it might have just been a little chunk of powder, which happens sometimes, and that will melt in the oven. But just to be sure, I'm going to brush it off and do it again. You don't want to just brush off the one spot you're not happy with and leave everything else and then powder over it again, because then you'll end up with a big pile of powder, and that will show also when it finishes. So just brush it off, get most of it off. I actually brushed it off twice. I wasn't happy with the way it looked the first 2 times. So there's a lot of excess powder here, which, by the way, you can reuse this powder again. You can sweep all this up and put it back inside the container and use it again. But I brushed it off twice. I got it right the 3rd time. I also went around and used some heat-resistant tape on the back side edge, because that part really is supposed to sit flush up against here. I got a light over here, and now you can see that I've got the black primary cover with the copper color inspection cover, and then the white derby cover. This is white mainly because the white tires are going to be white walls, and I haven't decided what color to powder coat the lower rocker boxes yet. It's either going to be the copper color or white, one or the other. So, and then on the cam side, here is the, let's see, here is the cam cover with the copper timing cover that I powder coated. So you got black and copper, black and copper. The tank will have these 3 colors in it somehow, black, white, and copper. And then, like I said, the lower rocker boxes, I'm not sure. They're either going to be white or copper. So those are my color schemes, but that's pretty much it about in terms of powder coating. It's not a hard process, not a hard thing to do. You have to take your time, and I think most of your work is in preparing the piece to be powder coated. Prep work is, I think, 2/3 of any finished job. It's no different with powder coat. You have to get it blasted down to the metal, clean it up, preheat it, clean it up again, and then you're ready to powder coat it. But if you don't do that, you're going to have some issues, and I can attest to that firsthand. So that's it in terms of the powder coating. Pretty simple to do. The whole thing cost me probably, I don't know, $100, $125 for everything. And then the powder, you can go to a company called powderbythepound.com. They'll sell you a whole pound of powder. They're very good customer service wise. Or you can go to Eastwood, EASTWOOD.com. They're not as good customer service wise, but they do sell powder in 8-ounce containers rather than having to buy a whole pound. So those are the 2 places I would recommend. So that's it. I'll get back to you when I have some more. The front end is done. As you saw, I powder coated the triple trees, gloss black. They're done. I just have to try and find a way to get the bearing cup out of the lower fork in here, right in there, because that's giving me all kinds of fits. So I kind of put that aside today to do some more powder coating, because I was getting kind of frustrated. So anyway, that's my video on powder coating, and my next video will probably be an update, hopefully, with the front end done on the bike here. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See ya.